Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Business Breakdown Podcast, episode 20. Today, we're diving into the deep end with J.E. Warr, a financial savant who's now channeling his expertise into social impact. As the mastermind behind Second Chance Hope Group, J.E. transitioned from securities broker to author to nonprofit trailblazer, taking on Goliaths of repeat offenders and drunk driving with a slingshot of financial education. We're going into the process of transforming inmates and parolees through financial literacy, the innovative approach of rideshare gift cards against DUIs, and how financial knowledge can break the cycle of repeat offenders. Quick shout out to our community. Want to join a network of ambitious entrepreneurs, access exclusive resources, and get all your finance and business questions answered? Join our thriving 10,000 member Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/finance for individuals and businesses. Your next big opportunity is here. Back to the podcast. J.E., welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Great to be here. It's fun talking to you.
For sure, man. Man, we could honestly start this podcast anywhere. But I definitely want to start with the nonprofit because a lot of what you do with the nonprofit all comes from your previous experience. And it's really cool to hear how it all ties in together. So tell us a little bit about Second Chance.
Second Chance Hope Group was, I put it together because I think I kind of have a passion to tell people that need this information. I like to talk to people who care about things that matter. And when these convicts go into prison, most of them are very uneducated as to how finances work. They don't understand banking. They don't understand credit cards. They don't understand how to set up their own business. And so when they leave, they're just as ignorant as they were when they went in. And that's probably what caused them to be there in the first place. They didn't understand there's better ways to make money. And
Right.
In America, it's not that hard to make money. Okay. So I just wanted to train them. I wanted to show them there's a better solution than what they've been doing. And that was really what led me into the education system. So I go into a prison and I teach 12 classes once a week or once every 2 weeks. I come back and do it again. I'm about to graduate a class at Pack Prison in Navasota. And I teach them how money actually works. And I'm an ex-securities broker, mortgage broker, insurance broker. So I understand really understand how things really work. Not the Kool-Aid that the industry feeds us, but how they really work. So I teach these guys how to move through the system.
Yeah.
What I'm actually trying to do is make sure when they get out, they have hope. I teach them how to do a job interview. You know, everybody seems to think, for instance, a resume is the most important thing. A resume is nothing other than to set up the interview. The interview is where the decisions are made. So I teach them how to do good interview. I teach them how to set up an LLC. I teach them how to set up their bank accounts and get EIN numbers and all the things they need to do to start their own business, or how to get a good job and apply for a good. I just was sitting here right now looking at a photo of a young man that they got out. He's up in Grand Prairie right now. His name's Kyle, and he got his first job. He'd been out for about 3 weeks. Got a job, and it's a good job. He's a customer service agent for Costco, and he sent me a picture of himself in a suit. That's the kind of attitude you got to get when you get out. Not desperation. He was wearing a suit. He's smiling ear to ear, and he's starting work tomorrow.
Damn.
And so that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. Whenever you first got into it, what was like one of the first biggest problems that you wanted to solve?
The biggest problem was hope. A lot of those guys, when they get out, they have nobody. They burned all their bridges. and they got to start over. And I don't want them. I want them walking out of prison different than the person that walked into it. And the way you got to do that is they got stinking thinking from the shoulders up. And so I just see you got to get these people thinking in the right direction. And the only way you can do that is they have to have something in front of them that they're looking forward to. Because parole's not an easy thing. I mean, they put bracelets on them, they keep them confined. It takes people 2 or 3 months just to get their driver's license, and that's just because of the way it is in Texas. And so they're trying to swim with an anchor around their neck. And I tell these guys, I tell these guys the important thing about what goes on here is these classes. I'm just trying to show them that I have the knowledge. I'm not trying to teach them all the stuff I know. And you've talked to me before, and talking to me is like drinking from a fire hydrant. I mean, but when they
A
get
wealth of
out,
knowledge, it's not a bad thing.
I know it is, but I can't stop myself. I'm excited about the prospect of teaching these people how to survive and how to hope and how to succeed when they get out, so they never have to go back again. And so, I did that. And then I started noticing about 40% of the people in prison are in there for DWI, repeat offenders. They'll be in there for 4 or 5 repeat offendings for DWI. Well, they have all these programs where they're trying to teach these people to stop drinking. AA and the churches and all those people are in there trying to change their habit. And it's more than a habit, it's a disease. And so them drinking's not my problem. I don't care if they drink. I just don't want them driving, because when they drive, it becomes my problem and your problem. And the destruction comes when they drive, because they all think they're functioning alcoholics. Okay, they all think, well, I can drive just fine when I'm drunk. But what'll happen, they'll leave a bar at 2 o'clock in the morning and weave on the street somewhere, and a cop will pull them over, and here we go again. And it gets, when you get repeat offenders, they're in there for a long time, 10 years. It's hard to get paroled if you've broken parole twice. So their families are victims. Their families don't have that breadwinner out there. Their families are suffering, plus the damage they do to other people. So my job is not to stop them from drinking, it's to stop them from drinking and driving. People do not drink to drive. They drive to drink. So what we do is, when they get out of my program,
Can you explain
I send
that?
them a $100 Uber card. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's the secret to this thing. They got an Uber card in their pocket for $100, renewable. Okay, so I know what an alcoholic does when they get out of prison. They drink. That's why they're alcoholics. Okay, so now they go to a bar, they get to drinking, but instead of risking their life and their future and everybody else's that's on the road's life and future, all they have to do is pull that card out of their wallet, call Uber, and get a ride home. Now, the next morning when they wake up, they call Uber and get a ride back to their car. Guess what I did? I took a drunk driver off the streets. And that's, I don't know, I hear that there's 28 people killed a week by drunk drivers. Maybe I can save 10 of them. Maybe I can save 5 of them. And that's the important thing. And then let's say they're going out New Year's Eve. They know they're going out to a party. Well, what are they going to do when they go out to a party? They're going to drink. Well, here, call Uber. You and your wife ride in the Uber car, get to the party. When the party's over, call Uber and they'll come get you. So that's the kind of thing we're looking for. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it a real effect, not only on the way they think, but on the probability of them ever going back to prison. And actually, it costs about $2,800 taxpayer dollars every month for every prisoner. Texas has over 100,000 prisoners. And if 40% of them are DWI, wow. So I'm
Yeah.
approaching it different. I'm not like Mad. Mad's great. Oh, I mean, Mad really kind of started this whole thing, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. But they're aiming at victims, and I'm trying to reduce the harm that is caused by them. And the way I do that is making it easy for them to not drive drunk. Simple. So that's kind of the crusade there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's very powerful to do something like that. It's definitely a different take on what people have been doing for so long, because that's the way we've been doing it for so long. You know what I mean? So it was interesting to hear that whenever we first had a chat, um, with all that kind of going into place. You said you're graduating a class here soon.
Yeah, this Wednesday at the PAC unit in Navasota, uh, about 45 of them.
Can you explain the process to get graduated? What does that
Sure.
entail?
It entails they come to my class. It's an hour and a half class. They come to my class, and I really break down my classes to, for instance, the first one is how to find and get a good job. Because even if you're planning to go out and start a business, you can't just start a business. You got to have some kind of foundation there. So I teach them how to get a good job, and the secret I think to getting a good job is the interview. I've read hundreds of interviews, and I mean hundreds of resumes. I'm a self-starter. I work good with others. They all say exactly the same thing. Nobody hires off of that. What they're doing is seeing if you have some experience that might work in their job. Now, what's happening? That human resource director, his job is to hire somebody that's good at that job.
Mhm.
And I know Southwest Airlines used to do it this way. They still do, I think. They hire for attitude and they train for skill. Wow. Have you ever noticed the attitude of people at Southwest Airlines is usually better than any other airline? That's
The
because they were
spirit,
hired for it.
right?
Okay. And so what's that human resource director's job is to find people with good attitudes. So he hires them. And what he wants to hear more than anything in the world is the next week that boss comes back and say, "Did you hire old Kyle there?" "Yeah, I did." "Man, send us some more like him. That guy has a work ethic and an attitude that it's just great having somebody out there that has that kind of attitude. He's going to go far in this company." Well, I'm going to tell you something. That human resource manager, his head gets big when he
Hmm.
does his job right. He's out looking for a job if he doesn't do his job right. Just hire somebody because they got some experience. He needs
Right.
attitude. Okay. So I want to teach these guys how to shine. I want to teach them when they go into an interview how to do it. And the thing is, you got to do if you're getting an interview is you think your job is to make that interviewer like you. That's not your job. Your job is to like him. You got to find something about him you like. And then once you got
Right.
something about him that you like, it doesn't matter what it is, it shows. I, I'm sure your audience, and I know you can, I like you. Okay. You're kind of fun to talk to. Okay. So that's the way it's got to be in that interview. And then in that interview, you got to sell yourself. You got to make yourself shine. Now, I used to say the only discussion you should have about yourself is with yourself. But boy, when you're in an interview, you've got to sell yourself. That's what you're selling. And don't be selling some dadgum sorry crybaby attitude. You gotta get excited about what this job is. You got to be excited of what you're bringing, and you got to interview them. You might not want to work for the sorry. Okay.
Right.
If the interview is going bad and you don't like them, don't work there. Okay, go somewhere else. Especially in this day and age, there's plenty of jobs. So
Yeah.
I start out with that. Then I go to winning interview tips. I just tell them how to do the things, and then I tell them how to dress for success. Like this picture I'm looking right over, it's on the screen right next to me. Kyle in that suit, standing in the stairway, smiling ear to ear. He's got on a dark suit, a tie, and a white shirt. And last time I saw him, he was in prison uniform. Okay. And I'm going to take this
That's
picture
cool.
with me to the class and show them. This is Kyle. Remember him? He used to be dressed in white, sitting where you are. Okay, so you can see attitude on this guy all over. So you got to dress for success. I remember one time I interviewed a guy, came in and he's wearing flip flops and shorts, and I asked him, "What are you looking for?" He said, "Not much," and I said, "This isn't it." Okay, so grooming tips: clean up, shave, brush your teeth, comb your hair, wear your hat forward. Okay, whatever you're doing, dress for success. You got to go in there. It'll make you feel better about yourself too. But that
Yeah.
first impression, when you walk in that door, you got to have a good one. Okay. Grooming tips: don't stink. Okay. Don't try to half grown beard. Clean yourself up. Okay. Speak like a pro. Don't use, especially these guys, because they get to speaking a different language in prison talk. You hear what I'm saying? And they'll say
Right.
that 50 times in a sentence. You hear what I'm saying? Don't talk like that. Talk like a human being. This is not inside baseball. So uh, I teach them to plan for their future. You know what happens when they go into a prison is they wait. That's all they're doing. They're just waiting. I mean, they might take some classes so they get a little certificate so they can show the parole board, but they just spend most of their time waiting, maybe watching Fast and Furious 63 times, but that's not a time for waiting. That's winter of your life. The winter of your life is when you're in prison. But you know what
Mhm.
follows winter? Spring. They gotta think spring in the wintertime. They gotta plan. What am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? How's this going to affect my family? How am I going to change? And I tell these guys, you guys got to understand this. This is the number one rule. You got to change the people around you, or you got to change the people around you. And most of them got to change the people around them because they're the people that got them in there in the first place, and they'll drag them back into that hole again if they let them.
Right.
So I teach them how to start their own business. I show them the difference between an LLC and a sole proprietorship, and how to set up an LLC, and how to get your EIN number, and how to do all the things necessary to start your own business. And starting your own business isn't that hard. There's places where you can get your credit built up. I teach them how to do that. I teach them, really the most important thing I teach them is I'll show you how to get your credit built up, but don't ever borrow money. I teach them how money works, and I teach them how credit works, and it's a scary thing when you hear. I've done it for you. You saw me do that little thing about a mortgage. I mean, holy cow!
Yeah.
So I teach them not to borrow money to do it, to save up the money in their job, and then start their business. And I tell them, look, when you get out, I'm your uncle in the finance business. Give me a call. I'm a marketer. I know how to market things. And I'll tell you how to market your product that'll change everything. There's easy ways to market that aren't on the internet. They're not advertisements you pay for. There's social networking. There's meetup groups, BNI. There's all sorts of ways to get yourself in front of people. And if you know how to do that little shining thing I'm talking about, people will help you start
Mhm.
your business. So I teach them how to do that. I teach them how to get financing, and I teach them how to build up their credit. So I teach them a whole lot of other things about how everything. I give them the inside scoop. I'm a securities broker, mortgage broker, and insurance broker, and I know how all those things really work. And they don't work for your benefit. Okay, the wolves
House
of
wins.
Wall Street is really about a whole bunch of people. So I go into it. Go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
just saying the house
Drinking,
always wins.
listen to me. It's like drinking from fire hydrant.
No, keep going.
So, okay. So if I can put this, I'm excited about it, and I get them excited about it. And you know what excitement is? It's a byproduct of hope.
Yep.
And if I can get those people hoping again, if I can get them to dig up those old bones that they buried and lose that sorry attitude, and use this as the winter of their life to get ready for the spring, And then once they get out, they've got this attitude. They're planting the seeds. They're doing all the things they need to do to take them into the summer when they really do the growing. And then you know what's coming again after that. Then they got to harvest this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then winter comes again. But you know what they do in winter? They plant again. So you gotta think winter in the summer and summer in the winter. And that's the kind of stuff I'm teaching them. It's an attitude adjustment. And judging from the letters I get from them and the comments I get from them, it's touching them, it's changing them, it's making them think. And I think they can think themselves out of that mindset that they were in before. And most of them want to just get out and start again. Most of them, that's all that. I mean, I talk to some that don't. I talk to some hardened criminals that have had enough. And I've talked to some hardened criminals that haven't had enough. Well, all I can do is all I can do, but all I can do is enough. So if I say 4 or 5 of those guys out of each camp, wow, I'm going to make a difference. And I told you this the other day. I told you, when you're born and you die, and they put on your tombstone those 2 dates: born this year, a dash, and died this year. The dates don't mean anything. It's the dash. And so I'm trying to make a difference in these people's lives, and I'm trying to get them to think of the opportunities they have. And they need to understand if it's up to me. It's up to them to take this information. And I don't expect them to remember any more than people listening to this remember the first things I said. But I expect them to know that they can call me and I'm going to be there for them. And I'm trying to, this is getting bigger and bigger, and it's hard for me to do it by myself. So that's something else I wanted to kind of talk to you about. I need volunteers. I need some help. I need volunteers that will help me find, when they let's say they get out and they're paroled in Tyler, Texas. I need somebody in Tyler, Texas that can spend a little bit of time on the internet and find all the places they can go to get help. Which church will give them food? Which place will give them clothes? Where can they get a telephone? How can they get insurance?
Like a good local network.
Yeah, and you gave me cornbread. What is it? Cornbread.
Cornbread Hustle with Sherry Garcia.
Second chance for a job. I mean, that's a resource. That's what I'm craving. But I can't do it by myself. I need some people that will just say, "Here, I'll help you do this, and I'll find some places there." And if that's all you do, that's fine. But if you want to be one of my preferred local providers, find these places. And when these guys get out of prison, they call you and you tell them where to go and what to do. You kind of help mentor them. Right. You don't have to do it in person, but you could. It's up to you. If you just want to gather the information, that's great. If you want to help by actually doing hands-on and making a difference in these guys' life, because it'll make a difference in your life, in your community's life. You'll stop having these crooks released from prison and coming out there and doing the same thing again. Yeah, that's a benefit. It's a benefit to every taxpayer. So I'm looking for volunteers to help me with that. I'm looking for volunteers. Your network is a lot of financial people. Dedicate one afternoon a month to go into these prisons and teaching a class on the finance. I break this stuff down, but you can use your own stuff. If you already understand financing, this is not written in stone. Just give them the things they need to know and give them hope. So I'm looking for somebody to do that. And you don't have to be a finance guy to do it. You can be if you're a retired teacher, hey, this is great. You already got a skill. Let's use it again. Because we got some open minds in there that just need the information. So I'm looking for people, if you have any desire to make a difference, if you have a desire, you think, I need to go out there and save some lives, this is the place to call. If you want to just help me raise money, boy, please. If you want to go out and do speeches at meetup clubs and Rotary clubs and things like that, please, let me load your lips. I could use the help out there because we're always looking for volunteers and we're always looking for donations. These $100 gift cards don't come from Uber. Okay. I don't have any corporate sponsorship. Right now, it's just whatever people are giving. And as I get bigger and bigger, these numbers are going to get bigger and bigger, but the effect I have on people is going to get bigger and bigger. The number of people I save will get bigger and bigger. And I can't do this by myself. I need help. So that's something I'm looking for, especially from financial people, because you have a unique skill set. You know how to explain hard things easy. I need that. So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a need, and how you can impact the prisoners, inmates. It's pretty big. You're painting a new vision for them, and it's something they haven't seen before. So
yeah,
it's cool
you know,
to see.
I've said all this stuff, but I hadn't plugged myself yet. So go to www.secondchancehopegroup.org. www.secondchancehopegroup.org and look at the website, watch the videos, read the podcast. You've got to see what I'm trying to do there. And contact me. Tell me you ought to do this or you shouldn't do that, or it's fine. I need some input. I need some help.
Your email?
Yeah, and my email is je@secondchancehopegroup.org. And my phone number, this is what I'd rather you do. Call me, 737-293-6940. That's 737-293-6940. And if you didn't write that down or have a chance to, go to the website, and it's right there. And in fact, you can just click on it. If you're doing it on your phone, you can just click on my phone number up there and it'll call me. I'd like a chance to find out what you can bring into this system, and I hope I can find a fit for you inside of this system. It doesn't matter if you want to spend a lot of time or very little time. Just help. So, and also, a lot of you get a lot of information just going to my website and looking at some of the classes I do. There's a blog that's breaking some of this stuff down. And also, if you do, I'll send you my information. I'll send you I got a couple of books you can read. How to Save Money Even If You're Broke. It's on Amazon. How to Save Money Even If You're Broke. And then also you can, my other book is Shelter from the Storm, which is on Amazon on Kindle. They're $9.95 books. So, but they're just packed full of financial information. I break things down. Now, I'll piss off a lot of people. I really will. But, it's information I have, and I'm going to share it. So, you just take, you're like Mean Joe Green. You just tackle the entire backfield and throw out people till you get to a ball carrier. And so gather some information, make some better decisions. I had a lady one time told me, her name was Peggy Cook, and she said, I've never made a bad decision with the information I had at the time. Now, I do reserve the right to change my mind when I get better information. Okay, well, that's probably the reason she was married 5 times. Okay, but if you get better information on how things really work, it kind of opens up some avenues for you, and you start playing a game of what if. For instance, with my book, Shelter from the Storm, if you email me, I'll send you a manual on how to work a financial calculator in English. I mean, where you actually can understand it. I teach you how to do future value money, mortgage amortization. I teach you how to figure out the rate of returns. I teach you to do a lot of stuff by just, and it's free. So anybody wants one of my manuals, just email me. I'll send it to you. And it's not a little short thing. I cover a lot of information. I think it's 70, 80 pages. So, and I'm just trying to get the information out. That's all I'm trying to do. You can read it and go, "Oh, that's bull." I'm sorry, I wasted some of your time. Okay, but
I don't
if
know.
you gain something by it, wow.
Yeah, it'll be
So
hard to do that with because you've explained a lot of pretty good concepts, especially with the discount mortgages, and going pretty much creating a business even whenever you're broke. Could you go into detail about the discount mortgages?
sure. Okay, so first of all, I'm looking at how people make money, and one of they make money usually off of compound interest. They make money off of real estate. They make money off of investments in the stock market and things like that, and off of their own business. But the people that make the most money in the world are banks. How do banks make money? Well, you like to think they make money off the interest rate they're charging you, but banks work off a margin. They're going to make 3%. You know, if they're lending money at 9, it probably costs them 6. Okay, so that's not where they don't make their living off a stinking 3%. They don't have great big Christmas trees while you got little bitty ones because that's a little 3% thing. They make their money off something called amortization. Let me give you an example. You buy $100,000, you mortgage $100,000 at 6% for 30 years. Your payment's $600 a month, guaranteed 6%. Okay,
Yep.
so they break down that payment. There's interest and there's principal. That's all there is, interest and principal. If it doesn't reduce the principal, I don't care what they call it, it's interest. Any other fees or whatever, it's interest. Okay, so out of that $600, $500 goes to interest. $100 goes to principal. Now, you don't need to be a mathematician to figure that out. That's 500%. There's a rule called the rule of 50-25. After you made half your payments on your house, you've only reduced your principal by 25%. And it's because of amortization. Whoever invented that was a genius. And you can't see it broken down anywhere. Even in Truth in Lending, it's not clear. It's not there. But you look at your amortization table on your mortgage, and you're going to see, I'm telling you the truth.
Right.
And it gets a little bit better as you move down, but not very much. So I told you the other day, I wrote a book called How Do Banks Make Money? I sat down at this very computer, started typing out. Banks lend people money, get collateral at a good loan to value, get paid a fixed interest rate for a fixed term. And then I realized I wrote the book. That's it. They're making 500% on those payments, and the average person refinances every 5 years. So what happens is every time they refinance, you barely reduce your principal. You start over again with another bank, and that bank's making the money. I mean, wow. I want to make money like a bank. How do I make 500%? So how do you make 500%? And my solution was discount mortgage notes. A discount mortgage note is somebody that owns a house and they sell it. And lots of times they sell it to a relative or someone, and they say, listen, I'll personally finance the house for you. So I'll sell you this house for $100,000. I'll finance it for 30 years at 6%. Your payment, you'll pay me $600 a month. Well, we already know why they do that, because if they're paying $600 a month for 360 months, I don't know what it is, 216,000, something like that. They're going to make a lot more money than if they sold it and the bank paid them their $100,000, more than twice. So that's why they do it. Well, after a few years, let's say 10 years, the guy that borrowed $100,000 still probably owes $92,000. The guy says, listen, I don't want just $600 a month. I want my money now. And so he wants to sell that mortgage. And you go online, you can find discount mortgage brokers all over the place. They'll sell that mortgage. Now, when you buy a discount mortgage note, let's say the guy still owes $92,000 for the next 20 years, he's got to pay $600 a month. You buy that mortgage at a discount, which means instead of paying $92,000 for that mortgage, Let's say you pay $62,000 for that mortgage. That means that you are making $600 a month for the next 20 years. Your return is about 14%. Now, the guy that's paying the house off sees no difference. Nothing changes. He still got 20 more years at $600 a month. It didn't change a thing for him, but because you bought that mortgage at a discount. Now, what do you get when you buy that mortgage at a discount? You get first lien position on the house. Okay, so now you got first lien position on a house that you have $62,000 in that's probably worth somewhere around $150,000 by now. That's pretty good collateral, okay? Now, here's what can happen if that house, to that house. The guy that's in the house stays in the house for the next 20 years. That means you made a 14% on your money, guaranteed, because it's guaranteed by the house,
right,
for 20 years. Second thing, the guy refinances or sells a house. Well, half the people refinance or sell their house every 5 to 7 years. So in 5 years, he sells his house. Guess what? The bank that he sold it to people, they got to pay off the mortgage. Guess what they got to pay off? $90,000. Okay. You only had 62 in it. Plus you've been making getting the payments. Okay. Well, what if he refinances? Same exact story. The new bank has to pay you off the remainder balance. Not what you paid, but what was owed. That's good return on your money and quick. Now, here's the fourth thing, and everybody seems to be afraid of this. What if a guy stops making the payments? Throw a party, okay? If you have to foreclose on that house, cost you a couple of $1,000 to foreclose on the house, you own the house. How much did you have in it? Well, you got less than 62 because you've been collecting money all this time. But what if the house is worth 150,000? Now you only have 62 in it. Man.
Yeah.
And if you're a good guy, you could put those people back in the house. You could start it again. Well, here, let me rent it to you for a year or whatever. And then we'll look at it. I'll sell it to you. I'll owner finance it. Everybody kind of wins in that deal, except for the bank. Okay. The bank doesn't like it. So I just think that if you're going to lend out your money, I don't want to make money on like gold. I see these ads where they say, cash money is getting ready to be worthless. It's worthless. The banks are trying to get away from cash. What they want is gold, because gold's never been worth zero. Gold is a edge against inflation. Gold's the place to put your money. It's precious, and your money is worthless. Well, it struck me as kind of strange. Wait a minute. They want me to send them my worthless money, and they're going to send me their precious gold. What, do they just like me? There's something else going on there. Yeah, there is. Gold appreciates, hopefully. It doesn't always, but it usually does. It appreciates, okay? That means you got to sell it to get your money. It's not liquid. Okay? If you don't sell it, it doesn't matter if it went up to $5,000 an ounce and came back down to $2,200. You didn't make much money. I mean, 12 years ago, gold was $1,200 an ounce, and now it's about double that. Well, that's not a great return in 12 years. So I don't think that's a good place to put your money. Now, I think real estate's the same thing. You got equity built up, but you can't get at it. You got to borrow it or sell the house. And your money's not making money every day. It's just sitting up on the porch, rocking back and forth, thinking about all that equity you're building up. Horse feathers, okay? I want my money making money every single day. I want it working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's like a rancher in Texas. He buys 100 head of cows. He puts 100 cows out in a pasture, puts a few bulls out there with them. You make sure they got water and grass to eat. And the end of next year, he comes back out and he starts looking at the cattle. He goes, "Oh, see that white cow over there? That had that calf. That black cow over there had those 2 calves. That spotted cow had those 3 calves. But that red cow over there didn't have any calves. What is right then the farmer changes the name of that red cow. It's now called a quarter pounder with cheese. He doesn't want his dang cows eating his grass, drinking his water, and not producing calves. He's not in the fattening cattle business. He's in the cattle multiplication business. And you better put your money in the multiplication business where you can take advantage of it. First of all, compound interest. Einstein said it was the most powerful force in the universe, but Einstein must not have understood amortization. Okay. Second of all, you get amortization and compound interest. And guess what those two things do every single minute of the day? They make you money. And guess what you got for collateral? There's no warning on buying these notes. You know, past performance, no indication of future performance. There's just flat make money. And it's guaranteed by fixed assets. Wow, that you have at a great loan to value. Shakespeare said, "Don't never a lender or a borrower be." Well, he didn't understand finance very well. Okay, Rich Dad Poor Dad says there's two kinds of debt: bad debt and good debt. He's right, but he's wrong about what they are. He says good debt is where it makes you money. Bad debt is where it doesn't make you money, like buying a speedboat or something like that. Buying an apartment makes you money, so he says that's good debt. I'm telling you, here's the truth. There's good debt and bad debt. Good debt is when they owe you money and you have collateral. Bad debt is where you owe them money and they have collateral. So discount mortgage notes, I think, are the best place to put your money. Now, I don't sell them. I don't deal in them anymore. I'm just giving you the information. You can Google it and you can look for yourself. But and it's easy to figure what you should do. If you want some more information about it, email me and I'll send you what I got. So, and I don't charge for anything. Okay. Well, if you buy my books on Amazon, you got to pay them. But other than that, I don't charge. I don't sell anything. I'm not in the insurance business. Well, you ought to see me talk about life insurance. But anyway, we don't have enough time for me to get into every one of those.
That's funny. That's funny. One of the bigger things that you really help with is helping them kind of start a business and engage them. And we talked briefly. I told you about score.org, where they have like volunteers and mentors, and that's pretty much exactly what you're doing, except on a bigger scale. So it's pretty cool to see whenever you're intertwining business and knowledge and just passing on that expertise. It's definitely powerful, especially the reason behind it to keep people from being repeat offenders. And that's a really big piece. But with you have a graduating class coming in. Do you have another class starting up here soon?
I'm working on that. I kind of want to go to a women's prison next. So I'm working on that, but I'm doing it all by myself, and I need to get some other help before I go to other prisons. If I had some people that would teach my classes that are closer to these prisons, you know, I drive 300 miles to go up there and back to Navasota, but there's lots of prisons around, a lot of small towns. I think really the prison system in Texas is welfare for small cities. And you know, Navasota has a few around it, Huntsville and Waco, and there's plenty of prisons to go to. And I just want to touch more and more people. But before I do that, I've got to get a structure based on donations coming in. So I can actually, I don't want to tell these guys I'm going to give them $100 and I can't give them $100.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of killed all that hope, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I didn't start out thinking about doing the DWI thing. I started out with just the educational hope. But then I just see the effect. I talk to these guys and I see the effect of what DWI does. I just got a video from a lady in Ohio that was in a DWI hit her, knocked out all her teeth, and she's just having a hard time making it. I'm going to put her video up on my webpage. And I just hear stories. Well, you go to my webpage, you'll read some of those